let us now continue our video presentation on financial literacy. In the previous video presentation, I asked some of your classmates to write a reflection with regards to a certain video that I shared entitled Saan Napunta Ang Pera Niwan? I just can't remember who was the author of that video. For me, that video makes sense because that's what I really see in the real world. Well, even you can say that really poor are just getting poorer. Why? Because it is like really sangkuka is very evident. Yes, it's true that not all of them are the ones who like spending money for things that are needed. There, of course, not every one of them keep on buying a bubot. But the question is, why do they keep on buying those kind of things? Because those are just the things that their money can buy. Another, it is true that poor are just getting poorer because in the first place, they were called poor because of their low salary. Low income salary are categorized under poor, poor level. So then what do they do with their salary? So of course, it is just enough, sometimes not enough. Most of the time, it's not enough to buy their necessities. And many of them will not save money. Instead, keep on buying what they want. So the question is, how can they invest? How will their money grow? So see how financial literacy is very important, especially in this kind of poor handling of their finances. They already have low salary, but instead of saving because they have low salary, they just keep on spending it to things that they want. But of course, Aaron said we cannot blame them because why? But why they cannot save money? Because they just have a low salary. Enough, and just like what I've said a while ago, sometimes not enough to buy their necessities. But of course, what we're talking about here is pure financial handling. Okay, poor financial handling. Because if you have this kind of attitude in handling your finances, if you have this poor handling of finances, then what will really happen is you will belong to the poor level. Okay. So see how financial literacy is very important. This will be an eye-opener to everyone to spend money wisely, to stop buying things that they don't need. But eventually, since these things are not the things that they needed, the tendency is they will just wake up one day that all of those things are already in the trash can. And if you are going to compute those things that are already in the trash can or in the storage, then it won't cost much, enough money to invest on something. Okay, so this will be an eye-opener to everyone to spend money wisely. Just like the saying, kapag maikli pa ang kumot, matutong mamaluktot. But the sad truth here is based on my experience. Based on my experiences, having helpers, that most of these helpers are in ages are from ages 18 years old to 23 years old, I observed that their salary will just go to beauty products and buy new clothes. Even if they have already, for me, they already have nice clothes. But at the back of my mind, they keep on asking why there's need for them to keep on buying new clothes every time it's their salary. Yes, it's okay, but if you will just going to realize that you have comfortable clothes anyway, you have nice clothes anyway, then we're not actors and actresses who will keep on having new clothes every time we will go publicly. Okay? We go to we go to places in public. So you see, this is their lifestyle compared when I was at that age. I don't mind putting something on my face. But anyway, it's individual differences. But what I'm trying to tell you here is if students are financially literate, then of course they will think first before buying on something. So let us have the middle class handling. I can relate so much to this because based on my observations, most of the professionals, you will see that yes, their salary is good enough and not just good enough, but more than enough. Enough to buy or more than enough to buy their daily means of living, and they can even provide luxury of life. Most of them also own a house, cars, and gadgets. But question, these people in the middle class, can they own a house just like that? Can they own car just like that? I mean, with so many responsibilities, like for example, in your budget, payment for the electricity, payment for the food, payment for the bills. Can you can you own a house as fast as that? You cannot own a house or car if you are not prepared or if you have not prepared your savings account. You can have those things if you do not have a long-term plan. You cannot have those things if there is no long-term plan because those things are too expensive that your 1 month salary will not suffice. So most of this middle class who owns these things probably applied for a loan. Most of them, that is true. So what will happen if you have a loan? Of course, it will be deducted to your salary. So that is the reason why middle class are always stressed because they have to work overtime, look for a sideline just to cover the deductions made in their salary for their lifestyle not to be affected. So most of those people who are in the middle class stays in that level because they prioritize upgrading their lifestyle instead of investing on something. Okay, so how about the financial handling of the rich? They always think about how to earn more and more, which means they are addicted to investing to the point that even if they are on a vacation, their money is growing. Okay, so class, what are we referring here are the three phases of financial handling, not the level of the people, not the status of the people in the community. The poor here refers to poor handling. So not the poor people. So middle class, so that's why they're poor. So middle class handling of finances, not the middle class status of the people. So rich, not the rich people, but the financial handling of the rich. Okay, so now let us now define financial literacy. So according to In Charge Education Foundation 2017, financial literacy, it includes the ability to discern financial choices. So to discern financial choices. So to make a decision of what to buy or what to buy, a decision whether you are going to pursue getting that thing in exchange of this amount of money. Okay, so discuss money and financial issues without discomfort. Is being open-minded about the possibilities. If you use this money in buying this thing, so what will happen? Okay, so plan for the future. So this is all about what is your plan for the future, so that you can use your money to invest on something for your future plans, and respond competently events that affect everyday financial decisions. Okay, like for example, putting aside money for the rainy days. Okay, because of course there are a lot of uncertainties, so we really cannot tell what will happen in our everyday to day living. So there are times that there are some emergencies. So things like this, what will you do if you do not have savings? So including events in the general economy. So like for example, what's happening right now, the pandemic. So some of the workers do not have job already because some of the companies are closing. So are you prepared? If you will be one of those people, if you're one of those people who will not have work because of this kind of circumstances that we have right now, the question is, are you prepared? Because last, if you are financially literate, then at least during rainy days, you are prepared. You have backup. Okay? So you will not just fall down because of particular event. That is because you have your plans, because you plan your income. So that is part of financial literacy. So another is Mandel 2009. It is the ability to use knowledge and skills to manage one's financial resources effectively for lifetime financial security. So that is why you need to make sure that whenever you will become part of a working organization, you will become one of the employees, make sure that you are secure. There is this security. Like for example, if you are in the private, make sure that there is this SSS. If you're in the government, make sure that you have your GSIS. Because what is the sense of working if you will not be getting something in the future? So the reason why you're working, while you still have this energy, you're still strong, you're still healthy, is because it's not every day that your health is like that. Time will come that you will become old, and your also preparation when time comes that you will become weak. Okay? So Like for example, my parents are already old, but it's good to see that even if they are already retired, then at least all of their effort have been paid off right now. They are retired and they already have their pension. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So while you still can do your job well, so that time will come that you will have this kind of benefits. Okay, because it's not good to see that, like for example, 70 years old. It's not good to see older people still working heavy works, right? So it saddened me to see people still working heavy work. So that's why what I'm telling you right now is you should become as ready as now. You should value this financial literacy so that when you are already old, then all you need to do is just to receive your pension. Because when you're hard earning money anyway. So next, next definition of financial literacy, according to National Endowment for Financial Education, the ability to read, analyze, manage, and communicate about the personal financial conditions that affect material well-being. Okay, so ability to read, analyze, manage. So actually in financial literacy, this is an ability to see, to realize the worth of or the value of thing in exchange of your hard-earned money. So this is now time for decision making to decide if you are going to take the risk of exchanging your hard-earned money out of that thing. The question is, are you prepared to just give it away, your hard-earned money or something? If it's worth it, then go. But you need now to think of the future. So, are you sure you need that thing? Or is it just something that will satisfy you? Because if it will just satisfy you, then maybe it is not one of the things that you needed. Because that is just part of your pleasure. That is just for you to be satisfied. It's just like cravings that eventually one day it will just be gone. Then just like what I've said a while ago, you will just wake up one day, checking your trash can, that it is already checking your bin, that is already one of those things there. So if you're going now to compute the amount, then is it worth it to be just put that amount in that bin or in that trash can? So that is financial literacy. So this is all about decision making. Are you going to just give it away, this hard-earned money to that thing? So this is all about managing, valuing the hard-earned money. Okay? So another question here is, how are you going to value your hard-earned money? So how? Are you going to just put it in your cabinet? Or actually this is in the Bible, right? Or are you going to invest that money in something? Well, when it comes to investing, we know that it's all about taking the risk because of course of the uncertainties. We are not sure if your money will grow. We are not sure if it will grow, if that money will grow, or if that money will just be put into waste. But of course, at least you're doing something, and if in return that money will just put into waste, at least you tried, and hope that through that experience you will learn on something and will not give up and continue to invest. Who knows? One day it will grow thrice. Okay? So, because of the uncertainties, at least you're doing something for your hard earned money to have a value. Okay, so that is about investing. How about putting it in an insurance? So just make sure that that insurance is a good company. Okay. So Hastings et al. 2013, financial literacy refers as knowledge of financial products. So example, stocks, like for example in the insurances, there is this variable stocks. Okay, that if you're going to take a risk, like for example, you're going to give 5,000 for that stock, and at least after a year, if the economy is good, at least you have, like for example, even let's just say in return you will get every year 1,000 depending on the status of the economy. At least with your 1,000, you have 1,000 yearly. So that's not bad. At least your money is growing, having a value. You're using it for you to be able to earn your money. Because anyway, if you're stuck on something, it's just there. Okay, so anyway, anytime you want to get your stuff, then you can get it. Okay. So this also refers to knowledge of financial concepts. We have here the inflation, compounding, diversification, credit scores. So those are the financial concepts. Having the mathematical skills or numeracy necessary for effective financial decision making. Being engaged in certain activities such as financial planning. Okay, so these are this is about the financial literacy, in which it refers to these things. So Republic Act 10922, otherwise known as the Economic and Financial Literacy Act, mandates DepEd to ensure that economic and financial education becomes an integral part of formal learning. So it's good to know that our Department of Education is aware or is promoting this financial literacy, because like what I've said, this is very important, because this is all about valuing all of the efforts that you did in a particular services that you provide, in a particular work that you had given all of your effort. Okay, so that time will come that because of financial literacy, because of this financial intelligence, then like what I've said a while ago, when you are already home, all you need to do is to just relax, sit down, and receive your pension. Okay, because like I'd mentioned, it's very sad to see older people still working heavy works. Why? Because they've never had a chance to know or to be aware of this financial literacy. Okay? A good example of this are the traditional actresses and actors that before they have plenty of money, but because they are not literate enough. So what happened? So what happened? So what is their their life in what is their way of living right now? So you see, like for example, those in the news that you have heard. So it's good to know that some of the actresses and actors in this 21st century, they are financially literate, in which they are investing in something. Most of them already have businesses. They do not just rely on being an actress or actor because of the experiences that the experiences of the actors and actors before. So this is a good example. Okay, so again, that's why we have this Republic Act 10922 that mandates the Fed to ensure that economic and financial education becomes an integral part of formal learning. So we have here, okay, for a while. So what is your reflection on what we just have mentioned and what we just have discussed for today's part of the video presentation? Anyone can comment, or if you have question, then just feel free to write in the comment section. Okay, so let us now continue to the third video on financial literacy. So here, earning income. Income earned or received by people income. So this is the money that you receive out of the work that you did. Different types of jobs, as well as different forms of income earned or received. Benefits and cost of increasing income through the acquisition of education and skills. So how about this? What do we mean by this? Benefits and cost of increasing income through the acquisition of education and skills. So this is about when you increase your skills, then if you acquire another skill, then there is a possibility, or most of the time, your income will also increase. Like for example, in education, being a teacher, being a professor in the college level. So if you are already in your doctorate, then of course, your salary will also increase. So government programs that affect income types This is the budget now of the government. So types of income and taxes, then labor market. So buying goods and services, these are the key concepts. So buying goods and services, scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost. So when we speak of scarcity, this is, for example, during this time, like in pandemic, people are afraid of during the first stage of the quarantine days, people were afraid that there will be scarcity of food. So people, mainly most of the people would like to buy as much as they can foods, especially the alcohol scarcity. So buying goods and services. So choice and opportunity cost. For the opportunity cost, for example, there are promos. So since there is sale or promo, so it's an opportunity now to those who really value their money to buy those kind of things. So factors that influence spending choices such as advertising, peer pressure, and spending choices of others. But of course, when we speak of the influences, it's like, for example, some of your colleague would say that that product is good and you think that you need that product. So you will now going to decide whether you're going to get that product. But my advice is do not be influenced. You just have to think and reflect if you really need those kind of products, no matter how good is the advertisement. Still, you have to ask if really the advertisement is true. So this is all about spending choices. Okay, so comparing the cost and benefits to spending decisions. So just like I've said, reflect, think before buying a particular product. Because again, maybe one day you will just going to put that in the trash can. And if you are going to compute how much is the worth of, of those things inside your bin, then you will really have some benefits of buying those things. So again, if that will happen, I hope that you will learn from it. So basics of budgeting: do not become an impulsive buyer. So just because your friends vote such thing, then you will also going to get or to buy that thing. Making spending decision first, then the first thing that you're going to ask, am I ready to just give the hard-earned money or to exchange my hard-earned money to that particular thing? So if the answer is no, then stop. Stop thinking about that thing. So payment methods, cost and benefits of each, budgeting and classification of expenses, satisfaction, determinants of demand, post of information, search, choice of product, durability, the role of government and other institutions in providing information for consumers. So now going back to this choice of product durability, make sure that that the price of the product is worth it when it comes to its quality. Okay, so that you will not be wasting your money and you will not keep on buying the same thing. Saving. Okay, concept of saving and interest. How people save money. So how people save money? Actually, some of the individuals would save money after spending some of their needs. But most of the expert people, when it comes to financial handling, their advice is to save first before slicing the money to different things that you are going to put in the budget. Okay, but of course, based on my experience, it's really difficult if you do not if you have a lot of things, if you have a lot of responsibilities. So, but again, according to those experts in financial handling, save first before before spending your money to things that you want. Okay, so the role that financial institutions play as intermediaries between savers and borrowers. So this was about lending. So this is all about lending. So again, before borrowing, make sure that you need money. And some people would borrow to invest on something. Because most of the businessmen would really borrow for them to be able to 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 do a business. Okay, the role of government agencies such as the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation play in protecting savings deposits. Okay, so here, like for example, based on my experience, I have two insurances in Sun Life. So this is part of my budget. Two insurances. I have two insurances. I don't mind that that I already have GSIS, then I already have my SSS. What is important is I am I am looking at my future because like what I've said, I don't want to get old still having financial issues. So as early as now, I have I am putting part of my salary to this insurance. So as early as now also, my son also have also already have this insurance because if your age is still young, then the payment of the insurance is low. So that is the advantage of having insurance. If you applying for insurance if you are still young, because the payment is lower than those who are already in their 30s, then the payment is higher. So as early as now, if you want to become financially stable one day, then even if you already have your salary, you already have your SSS or USIS, applied for an insurance. All right, so apply for insurance. What else? Just make sure that the insurance that you are going to choose is stable, and of course it's of something that you can trust. Okay. Again, something that you can trust and stable. So, role of markets in determining interest rates. So, the mathematics of saving, the power of compound interest, real versus nominal interest rates. So, what about here? Real versus nominal interest rates. So, how are we going to define this real versus nominal interest rates? So a good example of this is like, for example, you have $100 for one, let's just not in dollar, let's just have the pesos, 100 pesos. You have 100 pesos. Instead of buying a thing that is worth 100 pesos, you put it in a bank, and after a year, so again, example here is for you to be able to understand the real versus nominal interest rates is, for example, you have 100 pesos, okay? Then instead of buying a thing that cost 100 pesos, instead of buying this thing that cost 100 pesos, you put this 100 pesos in the bank. So after a year, your 100 pesos have grown to 110 pesos. So meaning to say, there is this interest rate of 10 pesos. Okay, so that's the nominal interest rates, the 10 pesos. How about the real interest? So upon checking, this thing that you are about to buy before, which is worth 100 pesos, is already worth, because of the inflation, today it's worth 106 pesos already. So since you put, instead of buying this thing, you put it in the bank, it's 100 pesos. That's why after a year it goes to 10 pesos, so it's 110 pesos. So since there is this inflation, instead of buying this thing before, it's just 100, but today it's already 106. So the growth in the bank, which is 10 pesos, you just have to deduct 10 pesos to the increase the worth of this thing, which is already 166 pesos. So 10 minus 6 is 4. So this 4 pesos is your real interest rate. Okay. So you see the difference now of the real interest rate to nominal interest rate. So present versus future value. So like for example, for the present, you have, like I mentioned a while ago, so 100 pesos, since you save it in the bank, so the future value of that 100 pesos increased to 10 pesos. So for investment, saving, so right now, make sure that the thing that you are going to invest will not is not a thing that will just depreciate immediately. So like for example, land or lot, okay? Those kind of things will not just depreciate just like that. So time will come that this land or lot, the value of that investment will rise up. Okay, financial regulators, the factors determining the value of a person's savings over time, automatic savings plan, rainy days funds, saving for retirement. Okay, so what are we talking about here for the rainy day funds is what I just mentioned before, that that time will come that there will be emergencies because of the uncertainty of everyday living. We don't know what will happen. So make sure that you save something for that. So for the rainy day. So my advice is if you have plenty of money for that day, do not think of spending all of your money. So you always have to consider rainy days because to it's good to experience, like for example, that you are experiencing having no budget for the day, but if you just have saved something for the rainy day, then at least you have a money for that day. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you here is if you have plenty of money for that day, then do not spend all of your money. Do not be overwhelmed. Do not be too generous. Save for yourself because you don't know what will happen tomorrow. You don't know, you don't know if there will be people who will help you with regards to financial problem. So of course, I think you are one of those people who will be shy to borrow money from others, especially if they're not part of your family. Okay, so as much as possible, always have part of your budget for the savings for the rainy day funds. Okay, so using credit, concept of credit and the cost of using credit, why people use credit and the sources of credit. Actually, credit cards are very useful when you go to to highly developed countries. When you go abroad, this is very helpful, this credit card. Not because you have credit card is you're you are a type of person who is fond of borrowing. No. So to some people, credit card is very convenient because you can just use it anytime, anywhere. So in using credit card also, just for example, you are going to buy on something. Maybe you can still look for a product in which there is no interest rate, zero interest, as much as possible. So basic calculation related to borrowing, interest, and another in using credit card. So make sure that you're not an impulsive buyer. Do not keep on thinking like, this is maybe just first time to use credit card for this month, so I'm going to buy anything that you want. No, because You will just wake up one day that your debt is is high, it's very high, that you cannot sleep anymore because of your account in credit card to be paid. So credit reports and credit scores, let's check because of this comes behaviors that contribute to strong credit report and scores, impact of credit reports and scores on consumers, consumer protection laws. Okay, so financial investing, concept of financial investment, variety of possible financial investments. We're now talking here of assets. So calculate rates of return. So this is very important if you are trying to invest in something. Calculate rates of return, if it is worth it of all your time, effort. So relevance and calculation of pre and after tax rates of return. So how markets cause rates of return to change in response to variation in risk and maturity. How diversification can reduce risk. How financial markets react to changes in market conditions and information. So protecting and ensuring concepts of financial risk and loss, insurance, identity theft, life insurance products, how to protect oneself against identity theft. So here, do not just click immediately links that in which it's not from a reliable source, because maybe you will become a victim. Perhaps there's a possibility you will become a victim of identity theft. This will happen with all of your hard-earned money will just be given to this thieves. Okay. So the benefits of financial literacy determines one's ability to provide basic needs, attitude forward money towards rather an investment, as well as one contribution to the community. Why contribution to the community? Okay, why contribution to the community? Because of course, if you're financially stable, then you will never become a problem in the community. So if you are financially stable instead of being a problem, the community will be a great help in improving the community. So another benefits, financial literacy enables people to understand and apply knowledge and skills to achieve a lifestyle that is financially balanced, sustainable, ethical, and responsible. So when we speak of sustainable, so mean to say your lifestyle is maintained because of your means of living, because you understand the worth of the money. So the benefits and our benefits, taking responsibility for one's financial life cultivates proper decision-making skills and discipline. So it takes discipline, determination for you to become financially literate. So the benefit is, of course, you will become this undisciplined person, because if you will keep this in mind, then time will come that this will become a habit. But before spending on something, you first evaluate the worth of that thing. So people who work, spend, save, borrow, invest, and manage risk wisely are less likely to require government rescue. Okay, so here, borrowing is again, borrowing is not bad. It's just that just make sure that you know the reason or the purpose. Just make sure that your purpose also is of significant why you are borrowing. If that is for the investment or if that is for something that's very important, so borrowing is not bad. Okay, so financially literacy in the Philippines. So World Bank study in 2014 estimated 20 million Filipinos saved money but only half had bank accounts. Asian Development Bank study in 2015 revealed that Philippines does not have a national strategy for financial education and literacy. In 2016, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas released the National Strategy for Financial Inclusion, stating that while institutions strive to build financial services, financial literacy should also complement. As per Standards and Poor's Aiding Services Survey last year, in such initiatives, only 25% of the Filipinos are financially literate. So, no wonder why Philippines is one of the first country. So, first country, why? Because they are not aware of financial literacy. So, there is no one tried to help these people to be aware how to spend money wisely. So this means that about 75 million Filipinos have no idea about inflation, hence diversification, insurance, compound interest, and bank savings. Okay, so you see, only 25% of Filipinos are financially literate. So again, no wonder why we are one of the poorest countries, because if we are not financially literate, just like what we mentioned before, so meaning it's poor when it comes to finances. 10 years after discovery of the stock market, still less than 1% of each population is invested in the stock market. More than 80% of the working middle class have no formal financial plan. So financial literacy in the Philippines last November, more than 1,000 leaders, decision makers, influencers, and representation of public and private institutions, civil society, and gathered for the first ever Financial Education Stakeholders Expo organized by Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. So the expo is designed to build an organized network of players that share the vision of a financially literate citizen and cohesively implement a variety of initiatives to achieve this vision. So this is in line with the BAS Advocacy for Financial Education and supports the BSP mandates of maintaining price stability, financial stability, and efficient payment system. It is the BSP's conviction that the financially educated Filipino is an empowered Filipino who is able to make wise financial decisions that positively impact personal financial circumstances and consequently contribute to inclusive and sustainable economic development. So the Expo supports Republic Act number 10922, which designates second week of November's Economic and Financial Literacy Week. It is also aligned with the objectives of the Philippine National Strategy for Financial Inclusion, particularly in the pillar of financial education and consumer protection. So developing personal financial literacy, there are 6 major characteristics, types, and how people view money. So frugal. First is frugal. Frugal people seek financial security by living below their means and saving money. They rarely buy luxurious items. They save money instead. They save money because they believe that money will offer protection from unprecedented events and expenses. So this is true. So I want to become a frugal when it comes to handling money. So instead of buying luxuries, you save them. Also, we don't know what will happen tomorrow. At least we have savings to save us from different circumstances. So pleasure seekers use money to bring pleasure to themselves and to others. They're more likely to spend than to save. They often live beyond their means and spend more than they earn. So this is not good for the sake of pleasure. So they often live beyond their means and spend more than they earn. So if they are not careful and do not change, they may fall into deep debt. So if you are a pleasure seeker, then make sure that you have control, because if they will not become careful, then time will come up with the will that they may fall into deep debt. Okay, it's very stressing to be in this, to fall into deep debt. So status, some people use money to express their social status. They like to purchase and show off the branded items. Or are you this kind of person? Are you a kind of person who wants to impress, who wants to tell to everyone that this is my status, so I want to have branded items? Okay. So indifferent. Some people place very little importance in having money and would rather grow their own food and craft their own clothes. This is as if having too much money makes them nervous and uncomfortable. So powerful people use money to express power or control over others. So they are using money to become powerful. So self-worth, people who spend money for self-worth value how much they accumulate and tend to judge others based on the amount of money that they have. Okay, so who are you among the 6 major characteristics? So are you prudent, or have you been accused of spending money lavishly, or are you somewhere in between? There are 2 common spending patterns: habitual spending and impulsive spending. So what is habitual spending? Of course, by the way, you can answer this question. You just have to write in the comment section if you are a prudent or have you been accused of spending money lavishly. You can also answer my previous question. What is your characteristic? What is your characteristic when it comes to viewing money? So are you a frugal, pleasure, status, indifference, powerful, self-worth? So who are you among these major characteristics? Or right now, who are you? And do you plan to become what next time, or what is your realization that next time what will be her characteristics when it comes to viewing money? Again, as early as now, I want you to understand the value of money. That money is not something to boast, but rather that is for yourself. You work hard for yourself and for your living. Okay. To have a security. Yeah. So now let's go back to common spending patterns: habitual spending Then impulsive spending. So habitual spending. Of course, when one spends out of a habit, when one buys the same item daily, weekly, or monthly. So impulsive spending, of course, when one mindlessly. When we say mindlessly, do not think of what they are going to buy. So what is stronger to them is they really want that thing without thinking of its value. Okay, so that is impulsive. You just want that, you don't realize that will be the use of that thing in the future. So when one mindlessly purchase items that he or she does not need, many people are often enticed by monthly sales at the malls with the attitude that they may lose the items the following day. So actually in the mall, whenever they have this promotion, actually I'm thinking like maybe it's just a way for them to influence customers, people to buy things that actually it's the price is just almost the same. Okay. So fixed expenses remain the same year round. Car payments an example. So we have fixed versus variable expenses. Fixed expenses remain the same year round. Car payments an example. So fixed, permanent. So variable expenses for you, but the amount you pay varies. Examples, electric and gas bills, for example of this. So can you answer this? Which expenses are fixed and which are variable? Indicate the monthly total. Let us check margin. So I think no need to answer this one here in the comment section. I'm not going to answer this one in the comment section. So needs versus wants. Financial discipline starts with an ability to recognize whether expenses are needs or wants, and followed by ability to prioritize needs over wants. Needs are essential to our survival. Wants are things that you would like to have, but you can live without. But if you can live without those things, it's not important. Then do not waste your money buying those things. But actually, it's just okay to buy those things, but just make sure that it will not become habitual. Maybe you just want to give a gift to yourself because you've been working so hard, but just make sure that it's not monthly. So you want them, but do not necessarily need them. Too many wants when you're in a budget. Okay, so be careful with buying ones because again, like I said, maybe one day it will become habitual. Okay, so setting financial goals is the first step to managing one's financial life. Goals may be short, medium, or long term. Short-term goals can be measured in weeks and can provide instant gratification and feedback. I will ride in an LRT instead of taxi. And that is okay. So I will bring lunch every day. Are examples of short-term goals. So medium-term goals should be accomplished within 1 to 6 months. These goals provide opportunity for reflection and feedback and require discipline and consistency. Long-term financial goals can take years to achieve. This includes saving money for down payment on a home, and child's college education, and retirement. They may also include paying off car student loans or credit card debt. So an example also of this is insurances. Long-term financial goal is the insurances will take you how many years to be able to achieve it. But when you achieve it, it's very fulfilling because other than your GSIS, SSS, so you can also gain a big money from your insurance. But of course, depending on the plan of your insurance. So developing a spending plan. Time and effort are necessary to build a sustainable spending plan. 3 steps are proposed below when developing your personal spending plan. Record, review, take action. Importance of savings. Because no one can predict the future with certainty, we need to save money for anything that might happen. Because it's very difficult if you did not save money for rainy days. Because again, it's very difficult to borrow money to other people or to become dependent to other people. So it is necessary for you to have your own, because not all the time that people are good. Okay, so that is the importance of saving. So some of the people will always say, always live life to the fullest, but what for me the meaning of that is to just to live accordingly, according to your salary. So I mean to say save for your future because of the uncertainties of our life. Who and some would always also say, who knows if you will still live tomorrow. But what will happen if you will live for another 20 years? And then you will be living a miserable life because you will not handle your money wisely. So what kind of living would you have if you did not prepare yourself for that thing? Okay? So emergency goals for retirement, children,